Happy Christmas Eve, everyone. I just read something that Adam Kissinger wrote yesterday, and I'm going to read it to you. I'm over it. I've had enough, and it's time to share. This weekend, while doing some light pursuing of Twitter, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I really, honestly, never had any empathy so sudden and profound that I have decided to write about it shortly after. But I did this time. The whining, weak, brittle, fragile, delicate, feeble, puny victim mentality of the MAGA movement is one of the most transparently sad, snowflakey, and pitiful movements really in American history. The incessant whining, followed by the usual deflection of some harsh attacks that responsible adults would eschew, has really reached a boiling point in my tolerance of typical and normal political dialogue. I was attracted to the Republican Party for many reasons, but chief among them was my belief that a man could set his own destiny, defend his own family, live his own life, and leave others alone to live theirs. I was always taught that bad circumstances happen, as does loss and failure. And those are parts of life that we need to learn from and learn to manage. Sometimes you lose your whole corn of crop. That's life. Sometimes you lose elections. Oh well, you and you alone are responsible for your mindset and path. The MAGA movement has become an infectious disease of helplessness and victimhood, unlike any I could ever remember. Donald Trump himself is a master victim, suing everyone, everything, yelling loudly about about a poor victim of the deep state, rhinos, DOJ, FBI, China, Germany, Mars, the sun, and any other possible force of nature. But his victim mentality has spread to the GOP at large, and it's the most annoying and destructive force in the nation. Seriously, this infection has destroyed the GOP. The victims are everywhere. They believe their man to be the strongest alive, who has the courage to push back against the dark forces coming to destroy America. Never mind that many evangelicals specifically have been preaching this message for decades. This time, it's real. The heroes of the Bible are not apostles or even Jesus himself. No, they are the Old Testament kings who, in one case, slept with his neighbor's wife and had her husband killed. King David is supposed to be a story of redemption, and instead his life is becoming a model citizen. Prior to his repentance, because after all, that is Trump. The Jesus I follow is a believer, teaches us not to put our faith in this world, to be citizens of heaven, kind and just, and to fear not. He is in control. He's got this. He hasn't lost an ounce of calm because of tax rates, Disney, or wokeism. MAGA's strong hero is only doing one of two things. If that's what he says is true, that he is the most investigated and attacked man in history. Now, how in the world could he be as strong, given that while he actually was the most powerful man in the world, he couldn't stop these forces or do anything about them? I have to believe that given the levers of power and his amazing strength inherent to his DNA, he should have crushed the evil forces already. Or maybe he's just whining. Or maybe he's just a whiny, weak, brittle crybaby who absolutely cannot operate without a group of people who likewise feel helpless, giving their power to him. This broken, weak man, Donald Trump, leads an absolute movement of sheep who believe that collectively complaining and bellyaching about everything out of their control, they somehow are strong. They are not. Strength comes from a sense of self, purpose, and the love of justice. Not justice in the sense of the sword, but in the righteousness of the use of law and fairness to give everyone a chance. Strength comes from having the courage to stand for the weak and the voiceless, loving your enemy and shedding your tears at the plight of the homeless or the poor migrant trying desperately to provide for his family. That is strength. Strength doesn't come from large rallies of people at the sunset of their life feeding on the drug of helplessness, waxing obnoxious signs or putting large Trump flags on their truck and driving around the neighborhood. Strength is not making expert memes and trolling people on the internet. Strong people don't fear Disney or books. They don't lose sleep over the outrage of the day. And they certainly don't like Putin. Strong people defend those who need defended, like Ukraine. Strong and healthy people don't willfully ignore the truth. Weak victims do, because their accepting lies is required for belonging, and belonging makes you feel better and safer. MAGA is a weakness. The GOP has lost control of the House, the courts, and at one point, every legislative and executive component of government. But still, MAGA believes they are helpless victims that only survive with Trump. Well, he is either completely incompetent to still be on the receiving end of every injustice, or maybe, just maybe, he's a fraud. I'm going to really commit myself and my movement to reminding people that this great country can chart your own, in this great country, you can chart your own path and set your own destiny. Strength is beautiful, and strength is kind, loving, and charitable. Strength is the opposite of Donald and his victim parade. I'm so over it. The weakness of MAGA is un-American. Perpetual victimhood is un-American. And my kid will be taught the opposite of everything they claim to believe, because he will be strong. Thank you, Adam, for writing that. I made a few errors in my reading it, but you all got the point. Merry Christmas.